Listen to the silence. Up the hill of beans. It's beautiful. I was sitting at home watching the snooker and thinking, I should get up the hill of beans. I've not been up here for, I don't know, 2 weeks maybe longer, I don't even remember. You kind of get out of the way of things, and this is what I want to get over, this idea that habits, broken habits, and I wrote about this morning in my morning pages, that I've done okay with my morning pages, showing up, and leading by example is something I want to do in my channel, which is to show that the things I'm doing are actually really beneficial for my mental health, therefore they're really beneficial for my sobriety. So there's an AA element to this, but I'm learning now as I study more about politics and as I get more into, I don't know, being more serious about my sobriety, about working the tenets of AA. I'm learning that the tenets of AA are, it's just like a subset of rules for life. And AA just gives it a flavour, it gives it a kind of a colour that makes it work, that tailor makes it for people that are struggling with addiction. I mean, primarily alcoholism, at least in my own personal story. And I remember years ago when I first came into AA, hearing people sharing about the ism. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? What is an ism? And I totally get it now. It's when you put down the alcohol or the substance of choice that you use, you're left with all of this, what John Lennon said. He said we're bigger than Jesus, and now it's all this.
No, I'm not saying that we're better or greater or comparing us with Jesus Christ as a person or God as a thing or whatever it is. I just said what I said and it was wrong or was taken wrong, and now it's all this.
Well, I put down the alcohol and then it was all this. It's like, what do you do? How do you get along? I've just been listening to The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, and it, especially Dalinor's story, it really hits home about honour and about doing the right thing and about service to others and about tradition. And then in Kaladin's story as well. So I mean, none of this will make sense to any of you who haven't read The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, but I'm seeing in all these characters values that are the values I would like to live by. And this is why I think, first of all, I've always loved reading. Secondly, I've always particularly loved reading fantasy, because I think fantasy answers questions for me that I hadn't really understood before. And I think that's why in particular I love The Chronicles of Thomas Covenant by Stephen Donaldson, because the way that story presents the anti-hero of Thomas Covenant, and the way that I started reading that when I was 18, maybe 19, and it's heavy going. It's not an easy read. It's one of those books that you can read again and again and again. One of those books, it's one of those series of books, because there's a lot of them. And at each stage of life when you read it, you get something different from it, and that's the mark of a well-written book. And with The Way of Kings, it's the second time I've read that. It's, I think 3 years ago maybe. I was trying to think when it was the first time I listened to it. It wasn't that long ago. I'm thinking 3 years maybe, 4 tops. And so, you know, I was in my late 40s. It was incredible. It was such a fantastic story. And I remember stopping when Dalinor is having the first vision that we get to see the whole scene as it unfolds. And he first gets a message from the Stormfather, I think, which is God in essence. He says, "Act with honour, and honour will aid you."
This is important. Do not let strife consume you. Be strong. Act with honour, and honour will aid you.
Act with honour. And what is that if not one of the tenets of AA? Doing the right thing. And that's what got me up the hill today, I think, really, because I was standing on the porch outside my front door thinking, can I really be arsed? And I couldn't, but I told myself, remember those times when you've been up here and you've said to yourself, Camille, this is the best place in the world. Think on this moment the next time you can't be arsed. And so I did. I thought on that moment. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get up the hill. And I did, and it's been amazing. Of course it has. So why did I stand there on the porch deliberating at all? You know, it's one of those weird things, isn't it? So I acted with honour. I got myself up here and I walked all the way to the end and I filmed some tadpoles for my Chilled Scotland channel, and I listened to The Way of Kings, and now I'm doing this, talking into my device on a stick, just to see what will come up, because that's what I'm all about. I want to show up a bit more, just me and you, and see what comes up, because I believe that the creative act is a way to happiness, as is fantasy. God, I wish we had magic. Imagine if we had a system of magic. I suppose in some ways we do. But anyway, hope you're all having a great day. And the next time you're thinking, can I be arsed? My advice to you is just do it. Speak to you later. Bye.